Alright, everybody, welcome back to the channel. The main event here. Sorry for the lack of uploads last couple days. Busy weekend. Also, didn't really know what I wanted to record. I was thinking about stuff I wanted to talk about. Because series 1 is kind of in a weird spot. Series 2 hasn't really started yet. Then I was realizing that we do have a alleged Pokemon Home update coming soon, and something that comes with that update would potentially be the Hisui Pokemon. And I wanted to talk about each of them in a little bit. Talk about each of them a little bit. Not like a complete overview or guide or anything, but I basically want to talk about like what they are, what they do, and something cool each of them does that is potentially like important for us to know, because they have really strong moves and or abilities or combinations of moves and abilities that are going to make most of them very, very viable. All right, so the first one we want to get into is Goodra. So Goodra is biggest thing is that it has an amazing stat pool, right? The speed, who cares, right? You have the 150 special defense, which is insane. The 100 defense, right, and a respectable 80 HP. Some cool things that it gets is this shell armor ability, which basically means it can't be crit. Why is that important? Because one, usually the best way to get past like these big walled out Pokemon is to try to set up on them, or get a critical hit, raise your critical hit ratio however you need to. But this thing can't be crit, so you have to hit it with raw damage. Steel Dragon is pretty good defensive typing, because Dragon would normally be weak to Ice, that's neutral. Dragon would be weak to Fairy, that's neutral. Steel would be weak to Fire, that's also neutral. I'm pretty sure this thing is weak to like Ground, and Fighting, and that's about it that I can think off the top of my head. Because even like Dragon gets resisted by Steel, so that's still neutral. It gets Shelter, which basically just raises the user defense by 2. I'm pretty sure in Legends Arceus it raised the defense by 2 and also did something like make his evasion better, which is actually broken. I think people were like complaining that they kind of nerfed it, but you have to nerf that, right? You can't make it have an ability that doesn't allow it to get crit, an attack that raises its defenses and makes its evasion go higher by just clicking it one time with this kind of bulk. That's just no, you can't allow that in the game. That's just stupid. Pardon the cut. But yeah, that is insane. You have to nerf that move. It also gets like Tearful Look, so it lowers the target's attack and special attack by 1. So like this thing could potentially just like ruin your opponent's time, keep itself on the field. And then like its attack and special attack are good, so it still does damage, and it gets like Draco Meteor and like Flash Cannon, I believe. Yeah, so it can not take any damage while doing damage to you. That's actually stupid. So yeah, watch out for this Pokemon when it becomes legal. Next up we have Hisuian Arcanine. It's basically just Arcanine for the most part, right? It has the same ability, Intimidate, has the fire typing, has the rock typing, which makes it a little bit worse defensively because you're 4 times weak to water and ground. But what it gets that's pretty cool is Rock Head, Flare Blitz, and Head Smash. Rock Head basically stops you from getting recoil from your moves. Flare Blitz has heavy recoil, Head Smash has heavy recoil. 33% for Flare Blitz, half for Head Smash. So you can get both of these moves off potentially without any recoil to yourself. And then with Terra typing in this game, maybe the Fire Rock typing is not that bad, because you can just go Terra Rock, Terra Fire, or defensive typing if you wish, and just spam off these recoil moves with no damage to yourself. You can save something like your Citrus Berry for damage taken from the opponent, so you can just get more of these attacks off. And it has 115 base attack, which is really good. 90 base speed. Pretty sure that's close or the same target. I'm not sure, but yeah. So this is pretty cool. I don't think it's like meta defining, but it's good that it has like this ability and this, and like you can still run it with Intimidate, and Will-O-Wisp and Snarl and stuff like that, like regular Arcanine does. So next up is the Hisuian Avalugg. This thing is actually stupid. The reason it's stupid is because it has this stupid defense stat of 184, if you guys can see that right there. And it also gets like Body Press. It gets Body Press, right? So you can use that defense. You can Terra Fighting if you want. You can use the Body Press with that massive defense stat. Not only that, you have the Ice typing, so if you run it in here in Snow, it raises your defense by 1 stage. You can run it with Ice Body, which also raises its health each turn by 116, so you don't even have to run leftovers. You can run like Assault Vest and max out your special defense, which is Putrid. It's where is it at? It's 36, but you can like raise it as high as you need, and then put an Assault Vest on it and do nonsense like that. It also has like Mountain Gale, which is a base 100 Ice type move. It does miss, has 85% accuracy, but like 30% chance to make the opponent flinch. So if you get this thing on the Trick Room, you could like make your opponent flinch just once, and you have to be able to hit this thing every single turn, right? You need to be able to put damage into it. You get one flinch off, that could be the game. So that's actually really interesting. Ice and rock is not a great defensive typing at all. You're like 4 times weak to steel, 4 times weak to fighting. You are neutral to fire, which is nice. You're weak to water, you're weak to grass, but you can also hit grass, I guess. But yeah, so he has some weaknesses, but I feel like they're mostly physical weaknesses. So it's like 184 defense. So good luck breaking this thing if it ever picks up once it does become released. Next up, this one's actually really stupid. This one's really dumb. It's really, really dumb. The stats are nothing that blows you away. Like 112 is nice special attack, 110 HP is really good. Attack stat you don't care about. Defenses are middling, speed is middling, but it gets tinted lens plus Esper Wing. Esper Wing has a 100% chance to raise the user's raise the user's speed by 1, right? So like this thing is already 65. You raise it by 1 speed, it goes up to like a base 100 basically. Yeah, it gets to like base 100 or something like that. And that instantly makes it, you know, a decently fast Pokemon. And then against Tinted Lens, so Pokemon's attacks that are not effective on the target do double damage. So basically anything that resists your moves, you hit it for neutral. So basically nothing in the entire game will be able to resist an Esper Wing. It's going to get good damage out because it's special on a good special attack stat. It has a high critical hit chance, so those crits are going to hurt even if resisted because it has Tinted Lens. So that is going to be very, very strong in my opinion. I think that it will be. You can just Terra Psychic for more damage because nothing's going to resist you anyway. The only thing that will stop it is Dark types because that's immune, and Tinted Lens does not bypass immunities. But I think that's really good. It does get Sheer Force, so moves with like secondary effects will nullify those effects and then do extra damage. So I'm pretty sure like Sheer Force Heat Wave could be nice. Yeah, the Sheer Force Hurricane could actually be really nice. So the thing has pretty good abilities, pretty good attacks, pretty good offensive stats. So look out for it for sure. Not like meta changing, but still, you know what? I take that back. You never know, because some really good player might decide to find some way to use this thing and have us all quaking in our boots. This one is one that's really interesting to me. It basically has the stats of Electrode. If you guys saw, I did use Electrode recently. Really fast, 150. Special attack is 80, so you know, not incredible, but I'd probably just run it like modest or something, because 150 is gonna outspeed most things. But I guess with the Paradox Mons, you kind of do need to run it timid, but whatever, we'll figure that out. Same ability, Soundproof, Static, Aftermath. What it gets though is this Chloroblast move, which is 150 base power grass, and you lose 50. It's like the only special move I think that's this strong without like lowering its own lowering your own attack. This just, you lose half your HP. This thing is already so weak. 60 HP is like basically not having an HP stat, especially when your defenses are not good. But like you get this thing and you can Terra Grass it, get off Chloroblast and like something like grassy terrain if like Rillaboom ever becomes a thing, and you can actually do a lot of damage with this. It's going to be very gimmicky probably. It's not going to be something that like people are just going to be using. It's not going to have like top 5 usage, but it looks fun. And more fun in Pokemon is always a good thing to me. Next up is Zoroark Hisui. So it's just basically Zoroark. It gets like illusion. I like the stats. It's 105 speed, which is nice. It's always nice to outspeed the base 100s. 120 special attack is really good. 105 attack is nice. Not great defenses, but that's to be expected. The coolest thing that I think that it gets is Bitter Malice. 75 base power special ghost type move, so it's going to be hitting most things for neutral. 100% a chance to lower the target's attack by 1, which is nice because it's very rare that attack does damage and lowers attack at the same time like this, or at least lowers the stat period with this much damage. Like there's stuff like Snarl that, you know, lowers special attack and does damage, but that's not a lot of damage. Bitter Malice is stabs 75 base power, coming off of 120 special attack. So like you're gonna be basically raising your own defense and causing damage at the same time, which is actually insane. I'm pretty sure these things get some other tricks too, but I just, like I said, I wanted to point out something cool that I've seen for each of them, something I think you should look out for, something you can definitely try for sure, something that like this thing, every time you see it on ladder when it becomes legal, will have Bitter Malice. That's a guarantee. No one will ever probably run like, what other ghost type moves does it get? Let me see. Hex, Shadow Ball. Is no point in rushing Shadow Ball when Bitter Malice is 5 base points lower and it's better. Yeah, no reason at all. Bitter Malice will always be on this thing 100% of the time. This really quick intermission real quick, because I want to point something out in this video. I included Sneasler, Overquill, and Kleavor in this video when I wasn't supposed to, because this is supposed to be about the regional variants only, like Arcanine, Goodra, Typhlosion, etc. Pokemon that already existed that got a regional form in Legends Arceus. I wanted to do stuff like Kleavor, Sneasler, Overquill, Ursuluna. Basically the ones that are not necessarily regional variants because they're standalone Pokemon, just like branch evolutions, etc. In another video, which I will still do, but that's why you won't see like Ursuluna in this because I didn't put that in, and that's on purpose. I accidentally included like stuff like Kleavor and stuff. So don't mind that. Another video will be coming that corrects that. Secondly, I'm at 989 subs at the time of this recording. So if you guys are not subscribed and would like to subscribe and help me to 1,000, I greatly appreciate it. Now back to the video. This one's actually really cool. I actually want to see if they have the shiny in this. Yes, I like the shiny a whole lot. Let me actually zoom that in a little bit. Tell me that's not really cool. I think that's a cool shiny. Yeah, let's lower it back out. Oh, that's too far. It's chlorophyll, which is standard for Litigant, right? Except the difference here is that it gets a couple nice things. It gets 105 base speed stats, and then double to 210 with chlorophyll. That's with no investment, right? Let's lower it to 50. Let's just make it like 252, like Jolly or something. So 252, or just like, yeah, lower the first. So it's 172, which becomes 100, not 100. I'm so dumb. 344. I'm pretty sure. If the math is wrong, let me know. 344 is incredibly fast. And that's just like because of chlorophyll and sun. So you're gonna outspeed every single Pokemon in the game, I'm pretty sure. Probably even like the paradoxes if they have booster energy speed +1. I have to double check that, but that's actually insane. Maybe an Iron Bundle or a Flutterman, I'm not sure. I don't have the math on top of my head, but yeah, that's still really fast. Then it gets Victory Dance. Raises the user's attack, defense, and speed by like 1. So you're already faster than everything because of chlorophyll. You can then you can get Victory Dance off first and raise your attack, speed, and defense. Your special defense and defense are not incredible, but like you're gonna be raising your defense at least. You can invest some HP. You can invest some in special defense, invest some in speed to outspeed stuff like speed creep things. Hit Victory Dance like turn 1. Do like Covert Cloak so you just can't like get faked out or icy winded and lose that opportunity. Hit Victory Dance, and then boom, your defense is up, your attack is up, your speed is up. You have some bulk because you probably invested some, and then you're faster than everything by a lot. So the next turn you just start blowing stuff up with your +1 attack. Yeah, that thing is gonna be fun to see. It would have been nicer if like our sun users were better. We probably will get Ninetales as well in the Pokemon Home update. It does still get After You as well, right? So it's faster than regularly get with After You. So you could still run it just like with Torkoal and just do cool stuff with that. So we'll see how that plays out. Next up is Typhlosion, one of my favorite Hisuian Pokemon. One of my favorite Gen 2 Pokemon overall. It gets Frisk, which is nice, right? Frisk is great. I love Fire Ghost type, by the way. It's just one of my favorites. As you guys know, I like Ceruledge. On switching, this Pokemon identifies the held items of the opposing Pokemon, so that's just a good ability overall. I don't know how much it matters for people playing tournament because most tournaments are open team sheet now, but I think it's still good because a lot of people who play open team sheets forget to check the team sheets. So it's good as a reminder for what your opponent has. It gets Curse, which is good because I don't think Typhlosion normally gets something that would be able to, you know, minus its speed plus its attack and defense. And yeah, it's fast, don't get me wrong, but sometimes it also always feels like it's not fast enough. So like you potentially could run this thing like, you know, min speed, Curse, lower the speed, Trick Room. It's gimmicky, but it's something you could do. It gives you an option that Typhlosion just normally does not have. Actually, I think you need to Terra type for that to work though. So if you're still a ghost type, it's just gonna curse the opponent. But again, you can Terra into something else and then get the curse, which is a fun like curse Terra mechanic that I've seen some people doing so far. It also gets Infernal Parade, which has a 30% chance to burn the target, which is really high. 30% is a lot. Like that's not something you want to play with. And then it has double the power if the target is already statused. So that is actually going to be incredibly busted because like if you just run it next to like a Will-O-Wisper, you can just get or like a toxic Pokemon or something like that. Like in singles where there's like spikes, like poison spikes and stuff, this is going to be insane. And even doubles, I think it's going to be really good because it gets the burn chance on its own, which is nice. And then if you get another attack off into that Pokemon, you'll probably just blow it up, which is actually nuts. So yeah, I'm looking forward to giving this thing a shot. I like that special attack is so high. Decent stats. I think it's the same as Typhlosion or similar. But hey, it works for me. Next up we have Decidui, Hisuian Decidui. 112 attack. Very, you know, okay stats. Good, decent special attack, good special defense, good attack, decent defense. So, you know, moderately bulky. You can get damage off not too fast. What it does get though is Scrappy, which is nice. It gets Overgrowth though, which is like what all grass starters always get. But it gets Scrappy, which makes your normal and fighting moves hit ghost types. So like ghost types can't switch in on you, and normal types can't tear a ghost on you, which is actually a really big deal. Now that I'm thinking about it, that's actually a huge deal because a lot of normal types like to tear a ghost in front of fighting type moves. So this mitigates that by a lot. Coolest thing it gets though is triple arrows, which is actually very insanely overpowered, which I guess is why they didn't make this Pokemon like stronger. Also, starters stats are never really that overblown anyway, but like a high critical hit chance, right? Already as it stands, base 90, and the target loses 50% of their defense, so or -1 defense basically, and it can like flinch. Like, what the hell is this move? What? Why does it get so many things? Was this not nerfed? I have to look and see. Let me know in the comments if this is like outdated, but like usually Showdown has it up to date, which is why, like, for example, Shelter doesn't have the evasion boost or anything, or make moves more likely to miss in the description anymore, because that's not in Scarlet and Violet. They only have the Scarlet and Violet descriptions in here. So it can crit and it can flinch, and it looks like it lowers I wonder if it lowers your own defense. I probably no target 50% -1 defense. So I guess it just lowers the opponent. Yeah, so and then you can't like tear a ghost out of this. So yeah, good luck everybody else. Overkill is really cool, right? Its first reason it's really cool is dark poison typing means it's only weak to ground. Dark would be immune to psychic, which is a poison type weakness, so it doesn't have that. Dark would be weak to fighting, but poison resists that. The only thing that hits this for super effective is ground. Obviously, ground is very difficult to deal with if you're weak to it, but only having one weakness I think is a good trade-off. So whatever. It gets Swift Swim. It gets Intimidate, obviously, but that's what Quillfish gets. It gets Swim, which Quillfish gets Poison Point. Reason I think Swift Swim might be its coolest ability, because there are other Intimidators for one, but like having a Pokemon that can do like very fast, because what's its speed? It's 85 speed, which is nice because you can double it in rain, and then you can use like acupressure to raise a random stat of the ally, of the user or the ally by 2. So you can raise your own stats, you can raise your ally stats really quickly on turn 1, and get a big boost that can flip the game on its head. And it gets this cool move called Barge Barrage, which is 50% chance to poison. It only 60 base power because it doubles the power if the target is already poisoned. So this is something again that's probably going to be crazy in singles with like toxic spikes, where you can set up spikes. Does it set up its own spikes? Let's see. Let me check this out for the singles players. So yeah, toxic spikes for these singles players. Might be nice with like Glamora in doubles. But yeah, so if you're already poisoned, 120 base power, no drawback, which is insane. Like I said, 115 base attack is nice. The defenses are nice on the physical side, not great on the special side. Speed is good for a Swift Swim user. So yeah, I think it's cool. I'm gonna give it a shot when it comes out. Sneasler is really nice because it has that massive 130 attack stat and that massive 120 speed, and it gets unburdened. So like if you run it like with a seed or just any item that you can consume right away, you double your speed, which is insane because you're already at 120, so you get up to 240 base speed. And just for the sake of looking at it, let's drop it to 50. That's 252. Let's make it a jolly one. And yeah, so 189, that's basically 190, which is basically 380 speed if you get the unburden boost. That's insane. And then Dire Claw, 80 base power, poison stab, that gets a 50% chance to sleep, poison, or paralyze the target. That is gonna that is actually crazy, because like it'd be worse if it just did like one of these, I think, because then you could predict it. But like you're hoping basically if you do get status, you're hoping to get poisoned, I'm thinking, because paralysis and sleep just feel like such strong statuses compared to poison. Maybe this should have just been 50% chance to poison, because that's actually insane. And it's gonna introduce way more RNG into the game than we already have, which I think is not always great, but it exists and we do have to live with it. So yeah, this thing's definitely gonna see a lot of usage because it's fast, it hits hard. Defenses are not phenomenal, but like people will live. 80 is not bad, special defense 80 HP is not terrible. It's the defense at 60 is pretty not terrible, but I think people will find ways to use it. Focus Sash, Covert Cloak, real fast type stuff, or just like a Seed with Indeedee, follow me stuff to raise its defenses, to keep attacks from hitting it and then just die clawing you over and over and over again. So yeah, that's gonna be fun. On last two, we have two Pokemon that got the ability Sharpness. So Hisuian Samurott has Sharpness, which basically takes all the slicing type moves and gives it a choice band boost. It has 108 attack, which is not like mind blowing, but it's good, right? It's good. You can work with that. 85 speed you can work with. Special attack you're probably not going to use because you want to use the Sharpness boost on its physical moves. Even though Sharpness does boost stuff like Air Slash, I'm pretty sure as well. But Aqua Cutter, high critical hit ratio as it stands. So like you're gonna get 70 base power, you get a 1.5 times boost on that, which is like 35. So it's 105. Then if you crit, you get another 1.5 times. I'm pretty sure that's the crit. That's the crit rate. That's the crit number, crit multiplier. So 105. It's like 157 total base power, just on like Aqua Cutter. And then that's not even counting stab or if you Terra. That's actually insane. It gets Night Slash, which is a slashing dark type stab, which gets boosted by Sharpness. I'm pretty sure of that. It gets Ceaseless Edge, sets a layer of spikes on the opposing side of the field, which is a dark type move, more of a singles ability. But I think it's funny because I feel like hazards are becoming a little bit more common in doubles in VGC now, so look out for that. People might actually just run this, even though I think Sharpness with high crit, Night Slash, like Scope Lens or something like that is actually probably going to be like the play. And last but not least, we have another Sharpness user like I mentioned, which is kleavor. Kleavor has an insane base attack of 130. I think it was higher in Legends Arceus of like 135. Correct me if I'm wrong in the comments. Decent speed stat, decent defense. HP is a little bit low. Special defense is middling. So it's not like super bulky. But I will say the typing is funny because usually Bug and Rock are not good defensive typing separately like that, but together I'm pretty sure you're only weak to water for the rock, steel for the rock, and because rock doesn't resist rock but bug is weak to it, you're weak to rock. So you have 3 weaknesses, but like fighting is resisted by bug, so that's only neutral. Fire is resisted by rock, so that's only neutral, which are like big weaknesses for fighting and rock is fighting and bug typically. So yeah, I think it only gets those 3 weaknesses, which is actually pretty nice. It gets Stone Axe, which I don't think should have been 90 accuracy. It's just base 65. Now granted, it is a really crazy base attack stat, and it is Sharpness boosted. So this 65 gets the 1.5 times boost, which is like makes it like base 100, and then stab and Terra can also make that stronger. So I guess it kind of makes sense. In the long run, really good for singles, set stealth, rock, and target side ability. But again, I think because it's just a good attack on its own, and you don't have to waste a turn setting up hazards, it's fine because it's just secondary. You're not clicking this with the intention of setting up hazards, you're clicking it with doing damage, and it just sets up hazards anyway. And then if your opponent is pivoting around, they're taking damage every time they got to pivot around, so I think it's going to be good. I'm pretty sure X Scissors is Sharpness boosted as well, which is 80, which makes it base 120. So that's actually going to be its primary offense, which is going to be nuts. I do think this thing is going to see a lot of usage. Yeah, because the attack stat is so high. You probably just give it like a clear amulet so you can't get intimidated. And then like if Incineroar does make it to the game, if anything is going to fight it off, I think it's going to be this, because it doesn't get hit by super effective. It hits Incineroar for super effective, and you can clear amulet to stop intimidate. So this would be the thing that does it, for sure. So I think that's all of the Hisuian Pokemon. I think we've gotten through all of them. In the comments below, let me know what your favorite one of these is. If you play Legends Arceus, which ones are you most looking forward to using when they become legal in game? Whether that is for competitive success or just for fun. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Thank you for watching. Peace.